You were born to. You were born to. You were born to. You were born to.
So Burke, thank you so much. We're here in Nashville. Thank you for making time to be with us today on the podcast and share your wisdom, share your expertise as a leader. And you've been a superintendent, I think you just said 16 years?
I'm in my 14th year in the same school district.
Same school district in South Carolina.
In South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. And I've been in the district 21 years.
Wow.
I was the deputy superintendent and then became superintendent 14 years ago.
Very cool. And, what's your favorite part about being a superintendent?
They're kind of sort of multiple favorite parts, and I don't think that would be really unusual for most superintendents.
Yeah.
We are a large district, as I mentioned, so one of the things I really loved about being a high school principal was being able to, every day you're interacting with students, every day, all day long.
Yeah.
Well, we've got 77,000 students, so you don't quite get that level of interaction. One, you don't get it as a superintendent, but in a bigger place, it becomes a little more challenging to do that.
Yeah.
To get around and visit and try to go to 100 schools in a year.
That's a lot.
So
that's a lot of schools.
But I still like that part. But that kind of leads up to one of my favorite things. We have a group of high school students that are sort of the elected leaders from our 15 high schools.
Right.
There's about 40 of them, and we meet with them one Friday a month throughout the school year.
Love it.
And interact with them, hear from them how things are going. When we are looking to get student opinion on something, with considering doing something, we're going to get student input. We use that group to get input. We also try to do some things to help build their leadership, bring some people in. So it's just a great time to interact with them and to hear from them. And so that's literally one of my favorite days in the year is when the day a month we do that.
Yeah, that's great.
And so, things where you get to go interact with students, see what they're doing, hear from them what they're doing, that's a great thing. I think we also get the chance to see how our students are doing,
right.
how well they're doing.
Right.
So our academic attainment has greatly increased. We had the most significant growth in the history of the district in the past year, but it's been a steady climb of growth. Highest graduation rate we've ever posted, record number of students graduating with college credit or industry certification or both.
Wow.
Our goal is for 100% of them to have one, the other, or both, and we're now in the upper 80%.
That's incredible.
So the satisfaction that you get from seeing that, those are all numbers, but those numbers represent individual success for students.
Yeah.
Being able to help people through issues and that sort of thing, those are the most rewarding parts of the job and the things that I look most forward to.
Yep, that makes sense too. You're seeing the impact of your work and your leadership. And what are some of your lesser favorite parts of the job?
Well, dealing with the poor decisions that people make.
Right.
That's a challenging part of the job. That's true, and I'm sure that's true in any business, any industry, any government sector. It's certainly true in schools that people make some bad decisions, and it creates a host of problems for them and others.
Right.
That's some of the more difficult things to deal with. Unfortunately, we also deal with tragedies, loss of life of students. That's, as you would imagine, that's extremely difficult on everybody associated with it at any level. Certainly, obviously, most impactful to that family. So we want to make sure we're supporting them and doing things to help them. Then it's impactful to the other students in the school, to the teachers, to the staff, and beyond that level.
Has that ripple effect.
It does. So
Sorry.
It's just something. It's just something you have to do, but obviously it's something that you don't ever want to have to do.
Right.
Without, well, that goes without saying.
You know, what if someone just was hired to become a superintendent like you, and they don't have 14 years of experience like you do, Bert? What would you say to him or her? You know, words of edification or encouragement? Yeah, what would you say to him or her?
I guess one of the first things I would say would be go find somebody with the 14 years or 5 years or 3 or 7 or 10. Find an experienced person.
Like a mentor.
Yeah, and talk to that person and share. Share with them. Odds are, whatever you're facing, they've already done it.
Right. Right.
And if they hadn't, they can tell you so and
has?
so 2 districts away. Call them because they've had to deal with exactly what you're dealing with.
Right.
One of the things that our state association does very well, the South Carolina Association of School Administrators, when a new superintendent is appointed in a district, there's 72 school districts in the state. The executive director will ask an experienced superintendent to mentor this new superintendent.
Right.
And she's very intentional about, pairing people up. And so when she comes to ask you doing, she's kind of looked at maybe things related to that person that you might, have some things in common maybe, or maybe you worked in that same school district at some point, but looking for some sort of commonality and then matching
Right.
that person up. And of course, then that becomes up to the mentor and the mentee,
Yeah.
how much they make out of that.
Yeah.
And but I think a lot of the new superintendents in our state have found that to be a really good way to help them transition into superintendents. So some of the other things that you think about when somebody asks you advice about, hey, I'm new, you need to really learn the people. You need to learn like in our district, there are communities. If some places you go, it is a community.
Right. With 100 schools, you're
So we got
large,
multiple communities that aren't all exactly alike.
right.
So if you're going in somewhere, do you have a community, or do you have these multiple communities, each one perhaps a little different from the others? You need to you need to understand that.
Right.
One thing that's very hard for superintendents who come in from the outside. So we have them; they get promoted from within. The ones that come in from the outside, they know nothing about the people they are now leading,
Right.
including their top leadership. So how do you navigate that? And how do you know, kind of the way I look at it, and this is true at leadership, whether it's a principal or somebody running a department or a superintendent, if you're coming in new to a place, whose story, when they bring you some story about something, or they're reporting something to you, whose story do you know you need to add to? Whose story do you know you need to subtract from? And whose story can you just accept because they are telling you exactly, to the best of their ability, what happened? And until you figure that out, if you just start going out there and acting, you will overreact, you'll underreact, and you won't hit the right place. You won't know, hey, I need to really get on this and get it fixed. Versus this person, everything is a crisis. Everything they bring in it's a crisis in their mind.
Right.
And then one of our assistant superintendents that led at the high school level, supervised led high schools, he used to say to principals that's new principals, and now this would be true for superintendents, that slow is fast. That when you're making change, that slower implementation will likely be more thorough and more lasting. Now, if you find a mess, you have to fix the mess. But if you're trying to affect change, you need to approach that in a way that it actually occurs and that it will be sustained. And a lot of that involves moving it maybe a little bit slower, not letting it come to a standstill, but moving it a little bit slower.
Yeah, more mindful.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking it through thoroughly, praying about it, doing some research, your
Yep.
due diligence.
And getting people on board, because
Yeah,
you may come to a point, and we've done that on several things that we've done, where we're done voluntarily piloting this or whatever you're doing. Now you've got to be on board.
right. Taking action.
But that should be, you should get as much done in front of that as you can,
Yeah.
and as many people on board with it before you declare, well, this is, and on day this,
Right.
it goes into effect.
Yeah.
And we've had success with, and I would share this with other superintendents, and we're thinking about developing some new approach, implementing something. We will pilot it in a department, we'll pilot it in a little group of schools
Right.
who want to pilot it.
Right.
And then that lets us kind of work the bugs out, and it almost becomes like a sales force
Right.
for what you're trying to do, because other principals will hear
And buy in.
those principals talking about, well, yeah, this was great. It did
Right.
X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And that, hey, there was this issue with it, and we worked through that issue and we fixed that.
Yeah.
So it helps you to implement without dictating.
Yeah. That's wise. That's some wise leadership. That's really good. And Burke, thank you. Thank you
Sure.
for making time and sharing your experience, your wisdom, and your heart.
Well,
That really comes across.
Well, hopefully that would be helpful to somebody, but I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah,
Thank you for the
likewise.
opportunity.
No, thank you. That's